name's Scott. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the 18650 Cyclops electronic cigarette or personal vaporizer, which obviously I didn't actually receive it from a supplier as such, because there isn't actually a supplier for them. It's just basically a guy in Thailand who's making them. So he hasn't got his own website as yet. And so what I'm going to be doing instead is showing you his email address, which he has asked me to sort of actually show public. So if you did happen to want to get one or speak to him about it, then you can obviously just contact him via that email address there, which is cyclops18650@hotmail.com. Okay, so before I start, I did receive it free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review. My opinion of the product remains true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, so let's go straight ahead and show you in a bit more detail. Okay, so the actual Cyclops is basically just made up of two parts. You've got the actual main body, and then you've got like the end cap. Now this is all that was sent to me. Obviously you will need to get things like atomizers, cartridges, batteries, and a charger as well on top. So like I said, all you'd get literally is just these two components. And it uses an 18650 battery, which is a 2500 milliamp hour, and it's 3.7 volts. So to assemble it, all you've got to do is put the positive end in first, then you get the end cap, and then just screw that on in place. And all the threads on here are really nice. And now it didn't actually come with any sort of the, I think it's called Nolex, which just helps sort of prevent any sort of threads from binding. So I did actually put a little bit of that on there myself, and I'd probably advise you to do the same if you did happen to get one. On the end cap, we have got a vent hole just in case there is any sort of problems with like dodgy batteries leaking gas. So obviously it's got somewhere so it can actually vent away. The main body, I believe, is made out of aluminium. And the end here, I think it's actually made out of plastic, but it looks more like a sort of like a nylon material. You've got the switch there, and the switch is actually recessed. I don't know if you can sort of make that out, but there is like a sort of a scallop sort of shape there, so that which would hopefully sort of prevent any sort of accidental activation if you're carrying it around in your pocket. Uses a standard 510 connection, and as you can see, it is sealed, so you've got no chance of getting any e-liquid in there. Like I say, it does use a standard 510 connection, but because it's actually sort of sticking out a bit, you can use it with one of the new Tornado tank atomizers, which is what I've been using it with. Obviously you can also use your standard 510 atomizers, your low resistance 510 atomizers, as well as standard 306 and low resistance 306 atomizers too. But I've been using the tanks recently just because they're just nice and easy to use and sort of fuss free. When you press the button, it does actually, I don't know how well you can actually see that, but it does actually light up a blue colour there. So I'm trying to make it a little bit darker. Obviously when it's in darker surroundings, it does light up quite a nice bright blue colour. I do believe you can get these in different colours as well. I've seen sort of like a red one and a blue one. Personally I prefer to have like the silver version. Overall it's a very nice little device really, or I say little, but sort of quite largish device. It's not too heavy, it's just got a nice weight to it. So that is the 18650 Cyclops. So let's go and see what it vapes like. Okay, so that is the 18650 Cyclops, which is, considering its price point, seems to be a very nice device, and also seems to be pretty well made as well. So I'm going to obviously show you what it vapes like. I'm going to be using the tank atomizer, which is obviously just like a regular resistance, but like I said, it can obviously use 306 atomizers as well as 510 atomizers in both the standard and the low resistance. Okay, so this is what it vapes like. As you can see, even with just like a standard tank atomizer, you still get a really nice amount of vapour there. Obviously if you're going to use it with like a low resistance 306 or a low resistance 510 atomizer, then you're going to get even more vapour than what you're seeing there. Obviously it doesn't come with cartridges like a regular sort of starter kit, so I can't really sort of comment on the actual flavour. But I can say that for me personally, I find the 306 atomisers and the 510 atomisers and the Tornado tanks to give you, like a really nice amount of flavour. Not so much on the tank atomisers. I do find that the 306 and the 510s do give you that sort of slightly bit more flavour, but nevertheless you are still getting a nice amount of flavour regardless of what atomiser you're using. The throw hit, again, is sort of going to be slightly dependent on what atomiser you use and obviously what sort of nicotine strength e-liquid you vape as well. I'm just using some 18mg Titan tobacco flavour, which is a flavour that I really like. And even with just like the tank atomisers, I'm still getting a really nice strong kick in the back of my throat. Battery life on it uses that big 2500 milliamp hour battery, and for me personally, like, the battery will last me 2 days quite easily. Obviously, if you're a really heavy vapor, you've got it constantly in your hand and you're constantly vaping on it, then you're not going to get the same length of time of usage out of it as what I would do. But I would have thought, even if you're really caning it and you're vaping on it constantly, I would have thought you're still going to get a good sort of 8 hours. I mean, I think it would take some doing to be able to use up a 2500 milliamp hour battery in less than 8 hours. But if you're just like, your regular sort of average vapor, you vape every time you get a nicotine craving, and then you use it for a few minutes and put it down until you get another craving, then I would have thought you're going to get around the same sort of usage time as me, and that's around sort of 2 days. And if I can make something last me for 2 days, then I class the battery life as being excellent. A switch on it, it works absolutely perfectly. Nothing wrong with it. Every time you press a button, it activates. So in that sense, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's good that they've obviously recessed the switch a little bit, so it does sort of reduce the chance of it sort of, accidentally activating if you're carrying it around in your pocket. But there is still that sort of slight chance there because it hasn't got an actual sort of main on-off switch. So if I sort of find the right spot on my finger, then I can make it activate. But nevertheless, at least I have made the effort to sort of try and prevent any sort of accidental activation. But the actual performance of the switch, in the terms of does it work every time you press a button, it works flawlessly. Absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. Overall, there's not a great deal else I can really sort of tell you about it. I wouldn't normally talk about price, but it is the lowest price mod that I've ever come across. Like I said, I think it's 1,000 Thai baht or something, or whatever currency they use, which I think is around sort of 15 to 20 English pounds. Bearing in mind though, you do obviously have to get your atomisers and your charger and your battery and that on top of that, so it obviously will work out a little bit more expensive. But if you've already got those sort of things at hand anyway, then for like to have a really nice sort of backup, it's a bargain price really. It looks nice. It's nice that they've done something a little bit different with the end now. Like, I've never seen any other sort of mod that's got like this sort of nylon sort of straight sort of plastic end cap on it, and it's good that they've extended it so you can also use the Tornado tanks or the Ego tanks without having to worry about like mucking around with adapters and that. Switch works perfectly. It seems to be very well made as well. Obviously you've got the air vent there for any sort of little bit of extra sort of security. Overall, there's not a great deal you could really complain about. So moving on to the scores then. For the looks, I'm certain that some people will probably be a little bit dismissive of it because it does light up there, like every time you press a button. Some people might like that, some people might not. Personally, I like the feature, and it's nice to see they're making it a little bit different than just like being a tube or a battery holder, so it does make it a little bit different. So personally, I quite like it, so I'll give that an 8 out of 10. For the vapor production, it's going to sort of depend on what atomizer you're using, but the vapor production, just using like a regular standard resistance atomizer, I think is great, so I'll happily give that an 8 out of 10. for the throw hit. You know, whatever atomizer you're using, what nicotine level you're using, is going to sort of depend on the throw hit for you personally. For me, I'm getting a nice throw hit no matter what atomizer I'm using on it, so I'm going to give that another 8 out of 10. Battery life, it's got to be a 10 out of 10. Anything that can last me 2 days is, is fantastic for me personally. And for the switch performance, the switch works absolutely flawlessly. It works perfect. It's a little bit sort of naked, the switch. It would have been nice if it had a little bit more of a sort of a cover to it or something. But in terms of performance, it works every time and it works perfectly. And it has obviously got that little bit of a slight protection by making it sort of recessed as well. But there isn't like a main on-off switch to the device, so there is that slight possibility of accidental activation. Nevertheless, I'll still give it a 9 out of 10. If you fancy trying one of these out for yourself, then there hasn't got an actual website to go to, but just email the guy and just say that you're interested in the Cyclops, and hopefully he'll be able to sort you out. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and also come along and visit my website at www.e-cig-reviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers, bye bye.